podcast services. Hello to everyone out there. Welcome to my How Do You Spirit podcast. This is Lori, and I'm so excited that you've taken time with me at this moment. The purpose of my podcast is to learn from all of you about your spiritual journey and to share it with the world so we can learn from each other. There are so many ways that we practice spirituality as human beings, and I want to hear and share your stories. You can find my How Do You Spirit podcast on YouTube in the full version. There will be clips on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all other podcast services. And guys, I'm already getting all teary-eyed here. I'm so excited to have someone very special with me today. I talked about her in my first episode. By the way, we're on episode 2 now. And I felt it was very important to have her as one of my first interviewees. She has been such an inspiration to me for over 20 years and has really, I can't say enough how much this person has helped me in my spiritual journey. So I am welcoming today Taco. And we're so excited for this episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think all of you are going to enjoy it. Welcome, Taco.
Thank you.
So Taco is, well, I've always said she's my psychic and a very good friend, of course. But she explains herself as kind of a one-stop shop psychic. So explain the one-stop shop.
So I am what you call a clairvoyant. So I see spirits on the other side. I hear them on the other side. I also get shown like videos, like visions, and I feel, I smell, the whole 9 yards. Like I got the whole 9 yards with all the senses,
all the things. So
all the things.
Do you get overwhelmed by that though? Like feeling
yes, you can.
Everything? And are there any senses that you don't necessarily, although we're grateful and appreciative, but are there some senses that you experience that you would maybe rather not?
Yeah, the smell. I don't like the smells. Like I can smell death. I don't like that. And I can smell pregnancy from a million miles away.
My gosh.
It smells like an overwhelming, like old grandma flower perfume smell. Like I'm like, and I tell people, oh my God, you stink, you're pregnant. And they look at me, I'm like, I don't mean it in a bad way, but you kind of stink, you know? So
you stink like pregnancy.
And I've never liked funeral flowers, like the smell of funeral flowers.
Yes.
And so, I've had a lot of experiences, actually when someone that I care about passes and I wasn't aware there was an issue, you disconnect from people and all of a sudden you get this overwhelming smell of a funeral and you're like, oh shit, another one bites
coming.
the dust.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you just know.
Oh yeah. There's no smell like death and life, actually.
Interesting. Wow, that's pretty incredible. I wanted to ask you, when was your, I guess, do you think your first experience with having this gift came to you? Like, when did you realize it? What happened?
Well, I was the creepy kid growing up. I didn't know I was special or different. I always seen spirits, and actually that's what I had as friends growing up, because my mom didn't believe in public school, and she was a freedom fighter, and so government was not something you trust, and that's why when people say they don't trust the government, I'm like, oh, well, that's a no-brainer. I thought we all didn't trust the government. But so we were supposedly home taught, even though we didn't do a whole lot of schooling. But I'd always have, like, we always had horses, because we got given horses that nobody wanted. They were supposed to be the untrainable.
Okay.
And so we would go out and grab these horses and we'd train them and we'd run around Magna and in our house, and my animals always talked to me, and we'd sing songs, and my spirit friends were great. When I got real friends, it was like really weird because, your spirit friends love you for everything you are.
They're not
And
judgmental.
yeah,
They don't-
and when I connected with kids, it was insane to me that you get judged like you do.
Yes.
And it was almost disheartening. But I'd always have dreams, and I remember, gosh, I was about probably 4 years old, 3, 4 years old, and I'd go up to my mom and I'd wake her up, and here I am, the creepy kid, and she's waking up looking at me, and I'd go, Mom, this horse got out and it's at this part of the fence, and this car hit it, and it had this license plate. Eventually she listened.
Right.
She was like, what the heck do I do with the creepy kid? So when I was 8, my mom finally, which I am so grateful to my mom for this, she went, which, we were raised very Mormon. And
oh, wow.
so,
I didn't know
this
that
was
about
not
you.
something that you do. Girls don't have this gift.
Yes.
And so she went to a psychic fair and met this lady named Ronnie, who was my gift, because she came in and kind of helped me not be as creepy, where I actually created more human friends than my spirit friends. And I didn't creep people out as much as I did in the get-go. And then when I was 14, my guides come to me, and there was 3 of them. And I remember I was sitting in a chair, and it was a dark room, and I seen there was a light in the corner of this room, and this light got bigger and bigger. And then I was aware there was 3 of them. And they told me, they said, this world is going to get to a place where there's no hope.
Yes.
And you have to help people hang on for just one more moment of one more moment of one more day, because of how bad this world is going to get. And at 14, you don't realize
don't
that.
understand,
You don't understand
have no
that.
comprehension.
Well, I told him to go F off, and that I
Right.
was going to be a professional horse trainer. And it was funny because I remember him laughing at me like, Arch, isn't you cute?
Yeah, okay,
Well,
whatever.
I am not kidding you. So we, not only was I the creepy kid, we lived in the creepy house. So we lived in this house that was broke down, and we lived behind this motorcycle gang. And it was the Barons motorcycle gang.
Oh, wow.
And you didn't know my house was there unless, you went
were
down
going
the lane.
there, yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, this lady, it was literally the next day that this happened, and this lady come, and she was young. She was maybe 18 at the time. And I never had met her before, so I don't know where she came from. And I could see a little boy spirit on her shoulder. And she said, I heard that you can talk to the dead. And I'm like, I don't know where you heard that from. I don't know. And so I'm in total denial. Don't know where you're talking about.
No.
And she said, I'm sorry for bugging you. And she turned around. The minute she turned around, that little boy said, if you do not talk to my mom tonight, she is going to take her life.
Oh, my.
And so I'm like, crap.
Dang
Man.
it, the cat's
All right,
coming
I lied. I'm sorry. All right, come in. And the whole time I remember talking to this lady, I was so mad. I was just not happy about the whole situation. And, it was interesting because it was about 15 years later, this lady, I was doing some readings at one of the fairs, and she came up to me and she goes, you remember me? And I didn't, but I remembered the little boy, and it was so neat. She said, I just needed to thank you. I've been searching for you. She said, you saved my life. And I'm looking at her, and she goes, if you wouldn't have talked to me, the only reason I came to you is I wanted to know my son was going to be there to greet me when I killed myself. She said,
oh, my gosh.
So what had happened was she was a teen mom, unwed, and she was working 2 jobs. Well, she fell asleep on her couch, and the little boy got out of the sliding glass door and drowned in the pool.
Oh, wow.
And she could not get over that. She
Forgive
really,
herself.
yep.
Yeah.
And so when she came to me, she had the will wrote out. She had all the pills lined up, and she was going to take her life. The only reason she wanted to come to me is to know her little boy was going to be there.
On the
So
other
when she
side,
found me
wow.
again, she had 3 beautiful kids. She's like, you told me about these, and I don't remember my readings. They're not for me to remember.
Same, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so she's got happily married. I mean, this woman went from someone who had no hope, was absolutely determined to take her life, to having the most fulfilling life she could have ever dreamed of. And it was only because of her guides and her guidance and her feelings to find
To
and
come see.
search out, and
Yeah.
just that glimmer of hope that it was going to be okay,
Uh-huh.
give this woman a whole new lease of life. And
Wow.
that happens all the time.
Yes.
I never get used to that. It's amazing. And I tell people all the time, I'm just the messenger.
Right.
That it's not me. I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
It really is your guides. And the love that we get from the other side is endless.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. That's such a beautiful story. Like, and again, you were serving,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
using your gift to help somebody, and look what happened. And
Right.
how many years later is that?
Well, and
You
it
know?
also goes to show you that one moment,
One tiny
one
little-
little moment,
Yeah.
you can be someone's inspiration. You can be someone's spark of light in their darkest day, just for that one moment, and it can change the course of their life.
Yes. It's so important to be
It is
kind.
beyond important. This world needs it so much right now.
Desperately.
Now, I didn't know when my guides told me that this world was going to get to a place where there was no hope. It blew me away, because I couldn't imagine not having hope.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't really understand what they were talking about up until about 10 years ago, where it did get that desperate, and it is that desperate.
Yes.
But I am so excited because there's so much light happening right now. And if we can all come together and join that light, can you imagine what this world is going to be?
As a whole.
Oh,
and
man,
yes,
it's going to be incredible.
would be amazing.
It will be.
We have to get people on board here and
Yes, we do.
help them understand whatever they're feeling, or spirit, however they're talking to them, or whatever that is, or whatever that means to them. And that is the whole purpose
Exactly.
of what I'm doing with you right now, is
Well, and people
getting
need
the
to-
message out.
Yeah, people need to
Mhm.
understand that your guides will talk to you the way you'll listen most. Whether that's by dreams, whether that's by
Okay.
feeling, or whether that's by smell, sound, sound, sight, they will talk to you the way you will listen most. And the more you acknowledge it, the more it comes in,
Yes,
and the
the
more these other
stronger,
senses open up.
Yes.
I was just lucky that I didn't have, I wasn't raised in a structured environment where I was
Mhm.
told, you can't do this, you got to be like this, you can't see this, this isn't right. And I'm so grateful now for the way that I was raised,
Mhm.
because it didn't form me into being who society thinks I should be.
Exactly.
It allowed me to be who I am.
Yes.
And everybody has this gift. Everyone has this gift.
yeah.
Everyone. And you just have to learn that it's okay to listen to it, and it's okay to
Yes.
follow it. And everyone, it doesn't take a lot to be that spark of light for someone. It could be a kind word. It can be a kind gesture.
Mhm.
It doesn't take that much to be nice and to give someone that spark of light.
Yes.
It doesn't take that much.
I agree. And that, like you said, that little teeny tiny bit
Yep.
can save somebody.
And it could be something just so insignificant to you
Uh-huh.
and life-changing to someone else.
Yeah, for somebody else. Yep. That's an incredible story. I love it. Do you have like a family history of psychics or other family members that have gifts that
So my mom was very intuitive, very intuitive.
uh-huh.
And matter of fact, it was really neat when I was a kid. Because my mom, she was a freedom fighter. She was a little crazy, but it's fine. And she always knew how many kids she was going to have. And she told me this story about my brothers, my younger brothers. And my brother two of my brothers had come to her, and they weren't. So before we come down, we pick how many kids we're gonna have.
Yeah, we
and all
have
of that.
our life kind of
Right.
picked
Your
and
blueprint.
mapped.
you
Yes,
know?
the blueprint.
And
Yes.
two of my brothers weren't assigned to her, shall we say.
Oh, okay.
And they had come in a dream, and she told me about it and asked her if they could come through her, and she allowed it.
Uh-huh.
And, it's amazing because these two specific brothers are very enlightening and very intuitive and very shall we say incredible.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, you don't get away with crap around them. They
They know everything.
Yeah, they know. And I honestly couldn't live my life without them. They are my rock when I am weak.
Yeah.
And you can also tell even by the way they look, they don't quite look like the rest of us, little.
Really? Even though your mom birthed them?
Even though they have the same mom and dad.
Interesting.
Which I'm still not convinced I'm related to my dad. I want a milkman. Like, I think there's a milkman. No, I'm kidding. But no, they don't. They don't look like the rest of the herd. So
wow.
yeah, you can tell they're different, but they are so enlightening and spiritually aware. They are really incredible men.
Do they use really isn't the right word, but do they their gifts? Do they use their gifts?
Yes.
And to
so the one that
serve
I'm
others.
Yes, they do. Very much so. My one brother who I actually look up to as like a dad, a brother, he's like my one-stop shop, everybody.
Yes.
For everybody. That's the thing. And he is incredibly intelligent. He's one of those type of people that can figure out how to fix anything.
Uh-huh.
And he also was my person to torture when we were kids.
Yes.
And I still torture him, but it's fine. And it's funny because I feel like he was set down specifically for me to be my human protector. He is my person that every time my world has fallen apart weirdly, he's there at the right moment, at the right time, like oddly there.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. He as well. And him and I, when we were growing up, we'd share the same dreams that we'd have at the same time and how all of that happened. As a kid, I didn't know we were different. But as an adult, thinking back on it, it was kind of creepy cool. It was creepy cool.
Right. Do you ever get scared? I guess, and this is something I've struggled with when I've done readings. Because we're messengers,
right,
as you mentioned earlier. And have you ever struggled with any messages that you've given to people? Do you ever question if they're ready to receive the message? And I know we can't judge and we have to tell people, but do you know what I'm saying? Like in the back of your mind, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I tell this person this message that they're supposed to get?
So quite interesting enough. There's a lot of times I'm like, damn, what the heck are you guys doing? Because, you have to say the message the way they want you to.
Exactly.
And in the right tone, with the right amount of energy, even when they're not ready. So, for example, people that are struggling with suicide.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, I got so many stories on this. But I have a friend that she's now become my friend, but she hated me the first 2 years we knew each other.
Oh, wow.
And when I first did a reading for her, and because, when I do readings, it's kind of like I'm out of my body watching.
Uh-huh.
And, I've learned over the years, I don't really pay attention unless it's like repeated a zillion times. Then I'm like, I might want to pay attention.
Yes.
But she came and I'm like watching this, kind of my body and her exchanging.
Uh-huh.
And she was literally starving herself to death. And damn, her guides came in. They're like, why are we doing that slowly? Why don't you just get it over with? And they're like really shoving it up her butt. And I'm like, oh oh, snap, right?
You're a little harsh.
Well, it was crazy because if they wouldn't have said it that way and
Uh-huh.
they would not have challenged her, she would have succeeded.
Yeah.
But because it pissed her off that bad,
Yes.
she made it her mission to prove me wrong.
Oh,
And she now has a beautiful, fulfilling life.
that's awesome.
So then
Amazing.
you have them go, hey, you need to come in gentle. You need
Yeah.
to really show this person there's love for them.
Uh-huh.
And you need to talk them through this. And, so the delivery really is, you have to really pay attention and trust
Yes.
the way they want you to deliver it. I also had this lady that came for a reading, and her guides, because I don't remember my readings when I'm done. A half hour after I'm done, they're gone.
Right.
Well, I gave this reading, and I guess her guides told her that she needed to go get an F in life and then come back. Well, when she came back, she's like, do you remember who I am? I'm like, not really. And
Right.
she's like, you told me I had to go get an F in life and then I could come back. I was like, oh
my gosh.
why did you come back to me? I want to come back to me. What the heck are you doing? And she goes, no, I needed to thank you. If you wouldn't have done that and you wouldn't have said it the way you did, I wouldn't have made it my goal to prove you wrong. I went to the doctor the next day, had a full workup done because I was going to come put it in your face that I am healthy as a horse and I'm this and that. And she had stage 4 colon cancer going on.
Oh
and
my
had
gosh.
no clue, no symptoms, no signs.
Wow.
And she got it all taken out in remission, doing amazing. She's like, if you would not have said it the way you did, I would never have found this out and it would have been too late.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
so once you have enough
Uh-huh.
things like that happen, you learn to trust the process.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the beginning, it kind of is scary because, what ifs? What
Right.
if they challenged them enough and then they would have took themselves out?
Right.
You got to trust in what they're saying because our guides have no other purpose
Exactly.
than to get you from point A to point B and the most fulfilling life in
to
between.
support and yes.
And to care about you and get you where you need to go.
Mhm.
And they're not down here to judge you. They're not here to say, you messed up. They're not here to do that. They're here to say, look, if you turn left, we can get you here quicker.
Yes.
No matter what, they won't let you fail though. I think that's probably one of the things people worry about most is, am I on the right track? Am I doing, I promise you, your guides, they will make sure you're on the right track. They will shove enough telephone poles up your butt to make you make the right decision to where you can't fail. They will make sure of that. But they also do it with so much kindness and love until they can't.
Okay.
Until they have to go, all right, enough of this, they'll
now
warn
we're
you.
getting in your damn
Yep,
face, and you're gonna
you're
get
gonna
slapped.
you're gonna do it, and you'll thank me for it later, but
Yeah.
you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see just by the delivery in and of itself, with how kind and compassionate they can be, but also how rough they can be and really in your face. It's amazing how they know exactly what you need to see and hear at the
right
exact
time.
moment
Yep. Yeah.
to get you over that hurdle.
Yep.
And it's probably one of the most beautiful things I've got to watch.
That's awesome. I tell friends when I talk about you in readings, and when we have, I call them taco parties, but when we have people come over for readings, I tell people, and my friends, I'm like, she be needing to be slapped, and I tell them up front, she's going to get in your face and she's going to lay it on the line if that's what you need to hear. So don't be shocked,
Yes. Yep.
But you always put such a fun spin on it too, even though it's very, very serious. And, the guides have a
Yes.
point to make.
Absolutely.
But it's also, your delivery's awesome. And again, that's probably coming again from Spirit, right? Guides
Absolutely.
helping you deliver that.
It really, when I say I'm just the messenger, I truly fully mean that.
Mm-hmm.
I really am just the messenger. I'm not special. I'm not unique. The only thing that's special and unique about me is the way I was raised. You know, unfortunately, you know, we are raised in a world that is just all about the negative and all about conforming and not being who you are. And the more you can own all the senses that your God-given right was there for,
Exactly.
the more you can, you know, enjoy the journey, you know. And the other thing is, no matter who you are, I don't care if you have God as your best friend on speed dial or if you have the highest IQ on the planet, you were not designed to do life alone. You are blindfolded when you're in the situation. You absolutely are. That's why you can watch your friend that's in a crappy relationship and we're like, oh, damn, girl, get out of that, run. Right? And she's like, no, we're so in love. Everything's going great. And you're like, no, it's not looking pretty over here. And it's because when you're in the situation, you don't see it. And so that you can learn the full effect of the lesson.
Yes.
Right? But it's also to help unite us all to go, look, we've been in those shoes. We've been you.
Yes.
Let us come together. Let us bring love to each other and let us help each other over these hurdles.
Yeah. Learn from each other. Right?
Absolutely.
There's so much to learn with everything in life. I mean, I still learn stuff almost every day about different things, different situations with my career, with this whole spirituality stuff. I learned something new just last week. And that's another reason why I'm so intrigued about all of it. Cause there's just, I just feel like it's endless learning opportunities for a better world and place to live.
You're
and,
right.
You know, as humans too.
You'll
to just
never
grow.
learn it all. And I learned a long time ago to never say never, because the minute I do, my guides punish me for a whole month.
Oh, no.
When I was first doing readings, you know, and people would ask me about past lives, I'm like, okay, here's my theory, okay? And I had to have been about 16 at the time. Why would we be dumb enough to come down and do this twice? Like, that was my theory, right?
Right.
I'm like, oh, hell no, we don't do that. For a whole month, all they would show me, and now you got to have people come up. I'm like, all right, you're on a horse and you're in a castle. I don't know what this is about. For a whole month, that's all they'd show me is people's past lives. And I'm like, why? Right. Why?
Yes.
And so you learn, I still to this day, and I've been doing readings, oh my goodness, a long time,
very long time.
Almost over 30 years. Over 30 years now.
That's amazing.
That you don't learn it all.
Yeah.
You can't be an expert because it's not about being an expert. You can't learn it all. You will make mistakes, and that's okay. That's why we're here. Literally, you guys, we are here to screw up.
Right.
That's our whole mission.
From it, right?
The more you can screw up, the better off and more evolved you are.
That's how our souls grow.
Right. That's how you learn. You don't learn because it's all love and roses and stuff.
Yes.
If that's what it was, we'd stay on the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
There would be no reason to come to this.
You'll never know what love really is until you've had your heart broke.
So true.
You will never know what hot really is till you get burned.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, you've got to know that yin in order to really appreciate that yin.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know how amazing it would be to be rich if you hasn't never been poor. You know, you don't know how much that 1 meal means.
Right.
If you have never had to worry where that meal might come from.
Right.
And that's where if we could all just join together and just small acts of kindness, we could override all of this negative stuff that's going on.
And wouldn't it be just an amazing place to live in if everybody lived in love and we supported each other, truly supported each other, and our egos weren't getting in the way and fearful of oh, this person, making stories up in our head
Right.
about what this person or that person thinks, or just like how you grew up. You grew up being you.
Yes.
And I just wish we could all live that way. And there's just so many outside influences in our
If we could all,
world.
even just a majority of us, because the thing also that my guides have always said, there is never a negative, a positive as an override. Never. And I've witnessed this over and over again. And I think the reason why we're fed, because energy's got to be energy no matter how you look at it, right?
Uh-huh.
We're fed so much negativity through the news, through social media, all of these things, because I think people that want power,
Mm-hmm.
because that's, like religion is based off fear.
Exactly.
How does that make sense when they're telling you, oh, this kind and loving Father in heaven of us
Uh-huh.
is going to send you to hell if you mess up? Okay, I know my daughter couldn't do anything bad enough. I'd send her to a place like that. So
Right.
it's one or the other. It's not both.
Right.
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 And yeah, we want to do better, but at the same time, yeah, 1 + 1 ain't equaling 2 on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
That makes
people,
sense.
would quit falling for the fear and spewing the fear,
Yes.
this positive, it wouldn't take many of us to come
No.
together to override all this negativity.
Yep.
It really wouldn't, but they're fearful of us doing that because that's how we win.
Yeah.
That's how we win.
People
Then
are
there wouldn't be no
controlled,
need for
like you said.
wars. There wouldn't be no need for all this BS that's going on,
Right.
because we wouldn't be coming at it in a space of fear. Would be coming from it in a space of love. That's why this whole fake news and stuff, I love that everybody's calling that, because it is.
Yeah.
They're not showing all the humanitarian things that are going on. They're not showing all these people shielding others and making sure they're okay.
Safe. Mhm.
They're showing the little negative tidbits to make us all go, oh God, I better lock my house up and not let no one in.
Right.
You guys, they want to divide us. Why are we doing that?
Right.
I mean, it's pretty black and white.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? This world can be so colorful. If even just even just a little part
Yep.
of this world could come together in a light space, love,
Mhm.
we'd override all this negative BS that's going on.
Yeah. And just personal experience, and it doesn't take a lot.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing.
Oh my
It
gosh,
doesn't.
it really doesn't take a lot.
One kind word. Think about it, you guys. If someone comes up and they're like, oh my gosh, you look beautiful, what does that do? The whole rest of my day is just absolutely
Right.
fabulous
You
because
feel
someone
amazing.
said I look beautiful.
Uh-huh.
One little kind act can change someone's whole vibe and day.
Yep.
It doesn't take much. Or, I think we think on such a grand scale that we get hopeless. And it's something as simple as, I love your smile.
Or I love your outfit. Or
Great
I love-
hair.
yeah.
I mean, come on, you guys. Let's unite. We can do this.
Yes.
It really, really won't take much. We can do this. Just a kind word will change your vibe for the whole day.
So here's a challenge for everybody out there. Wake up in the morning and decide that you're going to say one kind word to one person every day. And see, that could be, again, the word that makes the difference for somebody.
Just one
that day.
compliment. Guys, come on. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
One compliment will change someone's day. Come on.
Yeah.
You can do this.
And then it makes that person you're complimenting. When I get complimented, I want to pass
it
it
spews
along,
out of me.
right?
I'm like,
It's
I love your hair,
contagious.
and I love your shoes, and I want your outfit, and I'm gonna knock you out for your hair because I need more. And I mean, it does. It
really
spews
does go
out of
far.
you.
Yeah.
And people gravitate towards that energy. They crave.
Yes.
They crave
The love.
positivity. Yes.
It's about the love. Back to
And
the love.
love
thing.
is always the answer, you guys.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Love really is. I know that sounds corny, and I'm not a bullshit corny person, but it really is always the answer. Love
Yep.
really, I've literally I went through a death space because I had lost my sister and I had the neatest death experience. It was so cool. But anyway, it was so interesting because when I got to meet God, he couldn't find one thing wrong with me. And I'm like going through my everything. Well, remember when I did? And think about what I did this. Come on. This one was good. God, come on. Like, I really screwed up this time.
Give me a break.
Right. And he could not find one thing wrong with me. And what was interesting is the doctors really told my family, she got 3 days to live. She's done. And
told you that?
Oh, yes. My family, they told I was dying in the hospital.
That's, I remember when you went.
Oh, yeah. I was a goner and I wanted to be gone until all of a sudden God like come back at me. And the coolest thing that happened is he said to me, he's like, you know, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'm going to stay here with you. And I was so proud of myself because I swore in front of God. I was like, I'm going to fucking stay with you.
I love it.
And he's like, before you make that decision, can I show you something? I said, absolutely. And all of a sudden, the sky went dark, like this, like, you know, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like millions of these stars, shooting stars. And I noticed as I focused in on them, they were prayers from people for me.
Yes,
and I'm not kidding you. And I didn't know, like, I don't know that many people, but what I found out later is my sister and my friends had my name put in the temple. So all of them were praying. Yes. So there was zillions of people praying for me. And I could tell my brother what he said word for word, my daughter what she said word for word.
Wow.
And he looked at me and I said, I didn't know I was that special. And he laughed. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't you understand how needed you are? And I'm like, no. And he said to me, he's like, I have to ask you, what do you want to do? I said, well, God, I do want to stay with you, but I can't let these people down. I got to go back. And he said, I knew you'd make the right decision.
Awesome.
So I went from having literally a 2% chance of making it to the next day waking up and I couldn't walk. I had 250 pounds of water on my body. But I got up and I did my eyeliner. I remember doing that. So now I do my makeup to make sure I'm okay today, which I never have done my makeup, but now I do.
Yeah.
And thank God for the pandemic because now I learned enough YouTube videos to do my makeup.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I started, getting in my walker and I'd go down the hall and I'd sing. And all the nurses went, who is she? What? And literally within 3 months, I went from 2% chance of living to being completely having a clean bill of health.
Amazing.
And every doctor goes, you're a miracle. I hear that a lot to where at the point where it's lost, it's like magic.
Yeah.
But I know I'm a miracle, but can you still fix me?
But miracles happen all the time. Yep.
Every day. And I literally have, I have so many miracles that have happened just in my own journey. I'm serious when I say I literally live on faith, and I know there's no way I could have made it this far if I wouldn't have the team on the other side that I do.
Yeah. And the faith and believing, that's the other side of it.
And the people that are here that surround you and help you too.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Love.
I had this one time where like my biggest fear, like my childhood trauma was we'd always break down. My dad would always take us out in the desert, break down, and then
in the car.
Yeah, in the truck, would be frying in the back of the truck.
Oh no.
So when my truck breaks down, I freak out. Like it's my trigger.
It's a trigger.
Well, after I'd gotten out of the hospital with my death space and stuff, my guys had told me, they were like, you want to know a secret? And I'm like, yeah, they do those kind of things to me, right? And they're like, when you have something happen, if you start laughing, say, that's one less mistake I got to make. And the universe will correct it immediately. I was like, what the hell is this magic kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
So I walk out, I have to go to a doctor appointment, and my tire's flat on my truck. And I'm like, okay, I got to put this to use, guys. Because I'm usually like, talking to God, come in, God.
Right. Help.
And so I start laughing. I'm like, well, I guess that's one less thing I got to worry about. And I am not kidding you. This guy all of a sudden is in my driveway and he goes, hey, ma'am, it looks like you got a flat. Can I help you fix that? I am like,
out of nowhere.
Shut your mouth. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. That kind of shit happens to me all the time, Lori.
Right.
I'm not kidding you. Like, even my friends are like, you cannot be, this is not right.
But
and
that's
I'm like,
a miracle.
but
It's
that
another little
happens
miracle.
all the time.
Yeah.
I had one time, it was so funny. My sister that passed, we were broke, and I had like the red slip going, hey, your lights are getting turned off, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't get paid for another week. And my butt cheek had an itch, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. We had already gone through the couch, everything, the vents
Checking
to try and
everywhere.
nothing. Couldn't come up with nothing. The whole day, like, this is irritating me. Finally, I take my hand, I get underneath my jeans, and I swear on my life, I pull out $100 bill. Now, there was no way that I could have accidentally sat on $100 bill. Okay, this
Right.
does not happen. My
Right.
sister about passed up. You are kidding me. This is not fair. You just literally pulled money out of your ass. And I'm like, I did. I literally did. That's how cool my guides are. They are hilarious. They are fun and quite entertaining. And they always save me at the exact moment I need saved.
And so what's the saying again? When something happens, what's that saying
Yeah,
again?
if there's a mistake you make or if there's something
Yes.
that
what's the
triggers you,
saying?
you just start laughing. The key is laughing. Laughter
Okay.
will put you in your higher spiritual self the quickest.
Okay.
Well, actually, laughter and sex. That's why most people that are spiritually aware are funny horn dogs, right?
Yes.
So you start laughing and you say, well, that's one less mistake I've got to make or one less thing I've got to worry about. And the minute you do, it is creepy cool because all of a sudden they show up in your driveway to change your tire. It was awesome. And it works. And little things like that, little kind of other side tricks, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
happen all the time, you guys.
But that's just what is, spirit, universe,
Yeah.
guides, God, they're all listening all the time.
Absolutely.
And they're always there to support us with whatever situation. Just
Absolutely.
believe that the support is there because it is.
If you just have faith, like the things that happen just with me having faith, and good Lord,
Exactly.
sometimes that faith is like last second. If you just have faith that it can happen, it will.
I agree with
It
that.
will. You really
witnessed
do
that. Mhm.
create your own reality. You do. And if we're not all going to be sunshine and roses. We all don't
No,
have
we all
a million
have-
great days.
Yes.
But we sure could be someone's good day on their darkest day.
Yeah,
And that's
their
what's
light.
important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to start doing for each other is just helping each other. Again, it doesn't take much. Just help each other come up a little bit, just a little bit.
Right.
And it's like what my guide said. If you can give someone hope to hang on just one more moment,
Yep.
you did your job. You did your job. Because I was terrified like most people. What if I'm wrong? What if I give them this? Well, first off, it isn't you. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not doing it.
Right.
Secondly, if you just have faith that what you're getting is right,
The messages. Mm-hmm.
99.9% of the time, you're right.
Yes.
We
Yes.
all have that little meter. Not so right. Right.
Right.
And if you just learn to listen to it, you're going to end up being that sparkle for someone's darkest day.
When you say learn to listen to it, and this was a struggle for me for a while, and I feel like I'm very much more tuned in now, but how would one recognize, would you think? Would you have any advice for how would one recognize messages? And like you said earlier, they come to people in several different ways. Like with me, when I know spirit's present or validating, I get the chills or my
Right.
body vibrates.
That is probably the most common.
Okay.
Also, angel numbers. That's what people call it.
Yes.
So listen, angel numbers are as, they're powerful, but they're not as significant as what people want to put the spin on them.
Okay.
So what we do is when we chart in our chart, before we
Mm-hmm.
come down here, we put in deja vu things to show us that we're on point.
Right.
Right?
That we're on the right path.
And those angel numbers can tell you, hey, you're in this part of your life. You can move it. But that's also why angel numbers aren't consistent. So don't go from 1111 or 2222.
Yeah.
You are all over the spectrum. It's
Right.
only because that deja vu. Like I always would have a certain sequence that I'd see on a license plate that would happen.
Uh-huh.
And I knew that was all right. My guide saying, okay, Tuck, you got this, right?
Right.
That feeling or that instant knowing where you don't know why you just know.
I have that happen to me
Absolutely.
too,
And that is huge. Also, I find that a lot of times, especially my most significant messages, come from other people. They'll say a certain phrase or they'll say or give me a certain look, and it'll hit me just right to where I know my guides are going, you got this. We're on point.
Okay.
And so it can come in so many different ways. A smell, sight, sound, a bird, animal, all sorts. Like my dog like turned me into the dog person I made fun of.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me now. I joined the club. She will tell me I'm not well way before I know I'm not well.
Wow.
And I can literally look into her eyes and I get this feeling and I know exactly what's going on with me and what I need to do next. And we have these amazing things on this planet to help us, these tools.
Yes.
And we don't utilize them.
We ignore them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we're going to change that.
We are.
We got to bring just awareness, right?
Yes.
It really is as simple as that. Becoming aware will change the course of your life.
Yes, it will, and it does. And I'm witness to that. I've experienced a lot of that. Just this year has been really, really big for me with that.
Yeah. Well, this is what you call a foundation year. So this kind of sets the tone for the next 5 or more years. So you got to remember, what's the hardest part to build on a house? The foundation.
Yep.
So it doesn't mean you build the whole house this year, but you set that tone for the next 5 or more years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a mass reset. So people are waking up. People are becoming aware. Even like the people that want to deny it, they are.
Yes.
And it's really neat to see. And if we can join together on this, can you imagine what this world would be like? I think it'd be kind of cool.
It'd be, yeah.
We've already done the negative thing and the war and blow each other up.
I think we need to
try something else. Let's try a different thing.
That's not working. So
right. Exactly.
Let's move on to something else and make the world a better place for
Amen.
all of us that live in it.
What I also found was especially if you're struggling with depression or just kind of that lost sense of hope for a minute, if you can try and start your day off with the emotion of excitement, it puts your mind where your feet are. And when I did that, it was so neat to see how many magical things really did happen throughout the day that I missed a lot, so many things that you take for granted. You miss when you're like worried about what you're going to do next week or tomorrow. When you get your mind where your feet are, it opens up a whole new world for you.
I haven't heard that one before.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's probably good for now, everyone. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. Again, I'm so grateful for all of you taking time to listen, and we will definitely be having Taco back. We have already discussed some topics that we want to discuss, so I'm excited about it. I'm all fired up now. Anyway, if anybody out there is interested in having a reading from Taco, please reach out to me, DM me, comment, whatever, reach me, and I will put you in touch with her. She would love the opportunity to do a reading for you. And she also does again, taco parties, as I call them, where she'll come to your home or business or wherever you choose, and you invite your friends over, and she gives readings to everybody. We also, I remember way, way long time ago, we had everybody sit in a circle, and that was kind of fun. It depends on the group if they're open to other people hearing, but that was really fun to do too. So there's all kinds of different ways that she could do reading for you and your friend privately, whatever you want. But anyway, thank you again. Sending love to you all, and stay tuned for episode 3.